Good afternoon, guys. Happy Wednesday to all of your sunshiny faces. So guys, it is Wednesday. I don't have a grocery haul for you guys today because I told you guys, I think in yesterday's vlog, that it would be most likely tomorrow. That was actually because my aunt has been, has been in the hospital since Monday, so we ended up going to see her. She says that she thinks she might be out by the weekend, and so she was actually in ICU, I think, prior to like today, or even like prior to when we got there. I think they just moved her to like a regular room, but again too, they're hoping that she actually will possibly be home by this weekend. That's good. But we ended up going to see her today, and it wasn't at like our local like hospitals. There's actually two that are very close to us in the area, but it wasn't there. It's in like at least a good 2 towns over or so. It's funny, it was actually like the exact same way we go for a bunch of the football games that we go to, and so one of the, like, we went to the football field once already this year, so we drove past it. I think we went to that one twice last year, so we were like, it was the exact same direction pretty much, and the same like all the sights and everything like that. It's funny, I was like, we only seem to drive this way like if we're going to those football games, and I think too on occasion we might take that route to go to my aunt and uncle's house, but yeah. So anyways, we drove pretty much in that direction, which again, it was like maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. The drive, it seemed a little bit longer just because like there was a lot more traffic, whereas it seemed like, especially when we come home from the football games, like there's not that much traffic. Going to the football game sometimes can be a little heavy in the traffic, but it seemed kind of, I don't want to say worse today, but like it just, some of the streets seemed a little bit more busy than, again, sometimes they are when we're going to the football game. So that's how I was kind of able to tell, like, you know, oh yeah, this is, you know, kind of different, I don't know, rush hour, but we didn't go during rush hours. We went in the morning kind of, but not like rush hour morning kind of, like it was almost like lunchtime sort of. So anyways, I didn't end up getting a whole ton of stuff done for today, really, just because of that. And you know, like we were gone kind of right in the middle of the day. I did end up finishing making my grocery list to go to Meijer though tomorrow. So like I said, I didn't end up getting into too much. And then the other thing too is that I can't tell why, but like I was tired today, and like I went to bed somewhat earlier last night, and I woke up like, again, kind of late. Like I had a little bit of time before we ended up going to go and see my aunt. So I wasn't up like insanely early, like, you know, 7 a.m. which is early for me, but you know, like I was up earlier, but still, again, I don't know why. I felt really tired today, and so we ended up coming back home, and that was kind of working on my Meijer list, and I was watching TV. I was watching Gossip Girl, because I think I've told you guys this before. I'm very frustrated with myself because there's so many TV shows that I watched as a teenager, and you know, when I was in high school and, you know, maybe middle school, stuff like that, that I have never finished, and it's so frustrating to me. All of this stuff, like I watched Vampire Diaries, Gossip Girl, Pretty Little Liars, like a whole bunch of stuff, and I never finished watching it. Either like I didn't watch the last season, I didn't watch the last like couple episodes, like whatever it is, I just didn't finish like the shows. And so it was actually funny because when football started this year, I think after the first football game, I was like, I'm too tired to do anything, but like I was too wide awake and like buzzing from the football game that like I couldn't just like go straight to sleep. So I was like, I need to watch something that's like very like kind of just mindless, like, you know, again, whatever, just to kind of like relax me into kind of getting to the point where I would fall asleep, you know, like that kind of thing, and just not be like very like, you know, again, something I'd have to focus on, because like my thing is, I love watching documentaries, I love watching like Science Channel and History Channel, like that kind of stuff. Like Unearthed is one of the TV shows that I really like, and Expedition Unknown. I actually finished watching that. I'm as caught up as I can be as far as like what they actually have streaming right now. I think they have like a current season that's going on maybe right now, but I haven't seen it yet because I've only seen the, you know, again, whatever streaming. So I'm actually caught up with that, which is cool because because again too, a lot of times I like start things or start series and I never end up finishing them. Like I can't even tell you guys too how many Netflix series like right out of high school, or like maybe like my senior year or so of high school, because I want to say my senior year, maybe my junior year was when we got, maybe not, maybe my sophomore year was when we actually got Netflix for the first time. But I can't tell you guys how many different TV shows I streamed, and like again too, got to like there was this one like murder mystery or like kidnapping kind of like detective show I was watching. It was really cool, and like every once in a while it just kind of pops up in my mind and I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm like, I never finished watching that, and I don't even remember what it's called anymore. And like there's lots of stuff like that, like again too, with streaming services that I started shows and I just never finished them. So again, I was watching Gossip Girl though, and it was funny though, because I have to just sort of mention this. It's from 2007, 2008, I think was when it started or whatever. And again too, I got through almost everything up until maybe the last season. And again, I started streaming it and watching it back when I was probably in high school, around that time, maybe just out of high school, something like that. But the funny thing to me is that, and this, like I said, totally randomly occurred to me, but they have, you know, old cell phones where they didn't have like, you know, again, maybe a BlackBerry might have had like an actual keypad, but everything else was the numbers, and you have to, you know, again, I had a phone like that too, where you had to, you know, you didn't have like an actual keypad, like a keyboard pad kind of, you know, with letters. Everything on there was, you know, just the numbers, and you had to, you know, hit like 3 buttons if you wanted to get to C. You had to hit 1 3 times. And so again, it was like there was a lot of abbreviating, and like I noticed watching the show that again too, when you're typing something out, you abbreviate it a lot. Now I think my first phone was like that. I think my second cell phone that I had actually had a slide up keypad, so I could actually type out without having to, like I said, do the whole like number keypad. But I know my first cell phone that I had was like that, where again you had to hit all those buttons. And I never actually had a Razor. I had my dad had one, but I got like some type of flip phone. I don't even remember what it was. And then like I said, I got something else. It was like an LG something that was like a flip, or, you know, or like it had a slide up, what's it called, like keypad on it. And so anyways though, the what I noticed that they did a lot, because this was probably even a little bit before that, like before even keypads really started to like become a thing, and this was definitely before like Apple, you know, like what's it called, iPhones and stuff like that, or any real smartphones. Like I think BlackBerry might have been like kind of the first, and then you had like the iPhones, which I feel like probably came out 2000, maybe 9 was the first one or something like that. 2008 possibly. I mean, maybe it was a little bit earlier than that, but again too, they were so rare that it was not a lot of people even had them. Anyways, back to the point though, there was a lot of abbreviating back then, and the weird thing that I've noticed now that again everybody has smartphones and stuff like that, we don't tend to do that as much anymore. Like you'd say something like I don't see you, and you put C and U, and you'd say like, oh, me too, and you put the number 2, you know, or like something like that. You know, there was just a lot of abbreviating where you just use like single letters to convey what you were saying, if it was U or C or 2, or, you know, again, whatever it was. You know, again, we still abbreviate LOL, but you know, like that kind of stuff. People don't do that quite as much anymore, I feel like again too, when I'm looking at people that like post statuses and, you know, like again posts on Instagram, whatever, you know, like stuff like that, we type everything out now. Even too, if like our grammar sometimes isn't always the best or whatever, you know, like that kind of stuff, but we actually type out full sentences. We don't abbreviate things as much anymore. We don't just, you know, like again use like shortened sentences or a lot of slang. Like there was very much in just that period of time where those type of phones were more common, and that's what I totally like just randomly kind of realized today. Like that was an era. Like there was an era specifically dedicated to the type of phones that you used as to what people would text and type and post status updates, like that kind of stuff was a very specific time. Because it's funny too, that will come up every once in a while, you know, they see like Facebook memories and stuff like that, and I'll see that I posted that kind of stuff. Like I think I typed something out, was like happy to be back or something like that, but like it was 2 and then I wrote the letter B, and then, you know, like, so I don't know, it was just, like I said, like really weird that that was a whole era of time and people don't type that kind of stuff out anymore. Like it's really annoying looking back at it to be like, I can't believe I just typed out like letters and numbers to convey what I was actually saying instead of a word. But it was because, like I said, we would all type stuff on our phones and it wasn't easy to type that kind of stuff out because a lot of us didn't have keypads at that time. And so I find that really funny going back and watching this now, that that was a whole era of time. And like I said, it's kind of lost. Like people are actually typing out full words, full sentences. We're not abbreviating things. I mean, some people still do that, but like I said, it's really not that common anymore, especially when if it's like, I really need to, you know, again, send something super quick, you literally can tell Siri to type it for you. You don't even have to type it yourself anymore. So like I said, it's just that whole kind of thing that I feel like is really interesting going back and watching this. And then again too, even seeing like stuff that I used to post about and being like, you know, that's just that is a specific short, though it was in a very long era of time. It was a short little period of time where that, like, that whole kind of thing is going to be lost to like future generations. Like nobody's gonna, you know, not many people do that anymore or will do that in the future because we have a full keypad in front of us and we don't have to type out, you know, we're not trying to figure out a way to quickly get things to people, you know, and quickly type out stuff, you know, again, whereas like I said, if you had just the number pad, it took a long time to type out your words. And so that's why you just shorten everything and use numbers and, you know, single letters to say what you wanted to say and like that kind of stuff. And like I said, it's not so much of a thing anymore as much as it was back then. And so like I said, I think that's kind of a fun, interesting sort of thing, that like I said, I going back and watching this now, I was like, I forget kind of that we did that, like that was a thing. And so like I said, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, so anyways, I'm kind of embarrassed of myself for, like, you know, again, having typed out, like I said, when I come across some of that stuff, I was like, that's such a little kid thing that I ended up doing and typing out that stuff. I can't remember exactly what it was or what it said, but it was an entire sentence typed out of literally just single letters and single numbers. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, again, a short sentence, but it was some type of sentence, and I don't exactly remember what I did, but it literally just popped up the other day in like my memories on Facebook, and I was like, I can't believe I typed that whole thing, that thing out. And it wasn't like, oh, I typed out that whole thing. It was like, I typed out like 5 letters and, you know, or whatever it was, or 2 letters and 4 numbers or something like that, whatever, to convey a whole sentence. And I was like, that's, you know, like that's just, that like time stamped it perfectly for exactly what type of era that was. And so yeah, like I said, I thought that was kind of fun and interesting little like, again, time machine thing to bring back for today. But again, rewatching that and like I said, having that pop up for me, it just reminded me, like I said, that, you know, again, that's something that's kind of lost. Like, again, high school kids today probably didn't really do, you know, like have never really experienced that, have never had to experience typing out things on their key, you know, their phone, their number pads instead of, you know, like an actual keyboard or, again, a smartphone. Some don't even really know what like the buttons are, you know, like of having to type out on like a little tiny, you know, like I said, like Blackberries and stuff like that that had the little actual buttons instead of like Apples or LGs or, you know, it's like something like that. You know, again, just it's a different kind of time that was, you know, back then. And so I find it funny too, because again, I think I was telling you guys, like, I've been learning German and stuff like that, so I actually can change my keypad from German to English, like when I'm practicing my German lessons. So I do that all the time too, and I was like, this was something that couldn't have existed at that time. Like back then we could barely even type sentences on our phones, you know, with numbers, you know, and like we'd have to, you know, again, we didn't even have keypads. Like that's the whole point. I can have multiple on my phone at the same time. I want to type it out in a different language too. I could switch over to another language keyboard on there too if I wanted to. So like I said, I find that very interesting, that how much technology has really changed over just kind of that period of time. Not to mention too, I was kind of making fun of a lot of the clothes on there too, and the style, because I was like, I wore that. Like there's some hair things and stuff like that too, and like the belts and everything. I was like, I totally had that. I wore that back then. And so like I said, it's I don't know. It's interesting going back and watching it now, but I needed mindless TV that one Friday after the football game. And so far, every football game since, for the most part, I've been just watching Gossip Girl. So I've been catching up on it after all the football games. I just come home and I watch it. And then I kind of ended up just, you know, like going to bed afterwards, because by that point I'm like tired. But again, like I was telling you guys too, it's like I need something that's kind of like mindless, that I can just kind of not pay attention to, but not like a documentary, because I feel like I have to focus on it. And I'm just, my brain's still like in the football thing, so I'm like still like thinking about that, and I can't pay attention to what I'm actually watching on TV, and I don't like just kind of like not really paying attention to it. So it's like I need something mindless to put on, and I was like, this is good because I've already seen it, so I kind of already know what's going on, even if I'm like, oh, I didn't really hear that or I didn't catch that or whatever. It's like I still know what's going on, really. So that's why it works well for me to watch that on, you know, like I said, after the football games. But it's just one of those things that, like, I just want to finish watching some of these old TV shows and stuff like that, so I can just officially say, like, I finished it, I watched it, I've seen the whole thing, instead of being like, yeah, I saw most of Gossip Girl, I never finished watching it. So like I said, it's a really good thing right now for me to just have when, again, too, if I'm doing something or working on something, like, 'cause I was doing my grocery list, and, like, there was no sports games on today, so I was like, I have nothing else to watch. I put that on, worked on my grocery list, and was watching that. So anyway, so I'm gonna take a shower and get to bed. But like I said, I thought I'd share that with you guys, my fun little tidbits of nostalgia. But I'll see you guys in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give the gold thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.